Hello everyone, I'm so happy to see you again on my channel. This is Mariya Blyznyuk, and today I'm sharing with you a new experiment and a very interesting underpainting technique. We're going to create a dreamy background using an unusual approach with paper. So let's begin. Maybe this technique will inspire you and you will enjoy using it in your own creative work. Today, I would like to share with you an interesting technique that I used in this painting. At the very beginning, I applied the paint directly from the tubes onto the canvas, choosing colors that felt close to the mood of my background. I was already thinking ahead about the colors of the lilacs so that everything would stay harmonious. I left a little space between the colors so I could later connect them using a brush or even a palette knife. Both work beautifully for this technique. Once the entire canvas was covered and there were no empty spaces left, I paused and looked carefully. When I felt satisfied with the color balance and the light, I moved to the most interesting part. Instead of blending with a brush, I used crumpled paper, sometimes even newspaper. I treated it like a painting tool, replacing the brush completely. I kept changing the paper as it became saturated with paint, and I also tore the edges to create more texture, more randomness, more life. This is where the background begins to feel soft, atmospheric, almost like a dream. When I was happy with the result, I moved on to the flowers. The lilacs themselves were also created using paper, but in a more controlled and intentional way. Here, I was building the form, bringing the flowers together so they begin to resemble real lilacs in structure and rhythm. At the same time, I paid attention to the vase, keeping its shape and not forgetting about light and shadow in some area where the paint felt too heavy or too messy. I simply removed it with a cloth, softly and carefully. And after that, I moved into the final stage, refining the bouquet, adding details, and bringing the whole composition together. Now, what's happening at this stage? I'm simply removing any unnecessary dark areas or excess paint so that it becomes easier to work on the details later. And once I've cleaned up everything that doesn't feel right, everything that doesn't fit, I switch to a fan brush and start adding small touches of color just to make the painting more detailed. After that, I move on to my favorite part, refining all the details. Right now, everything is still wet, so it responds beautifully to the brush. And honestly, it's such a pleasure to work like this when you can already see a strong result while painting wet on wet. Towards the end, I decided to enrich the lilac bouquet by adding other flowers. I let my imagination guide me and introduced hints of tulips, suggestions of roses, a touch of peonies, and even a hint of iris, so it naturally turned into a full spring bouquet. Because I felt that just lilac wasn't quite enough, and this was also part of my creative experiment and a way to bring more mood into the piece. I added more detailed flowers, and overall it turned into a very interesting work. It's not exactly in my usual technique, but I really enjoyed the process. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this piece or this technique, please leave a comment, and if you use something similar in your own work, write to me. Maybe we can try it together and I'll feature your technique on my channel. Wishing you creative inspiration and a wonderful mood. Mariya.